on Twitter. Good morning to my very amazing brother.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. How was your weekend? How was your weekend?
Very delightful weekend I had, and mixed with the fact that the Isese festival, it was a glorious time. I partook in the whole stuff. It was nice.
Say no more. Say no more. I think it's understandable, for you to say three times. So very. It speaks of the fact that you had a lovely weekend.
Absolutely.
And once again, good morning from every part of the world that you are viewing us from. We are very happy to welcome you to Morning Springs on Western Spring Television for this week, and especially the program holds every weekday, 7 a.m. What we do here is to discuss issues of public importance, those things that you want to bring on the board now, and that's what we look into. First the headlines and then the conversation with very critical analysis, factual analysis of these issues. Femi Ojo is my name. I want to welcome you. And of course, towards the end of last night, news had it that there was a shake-up.
A reshuffle.
Reshuffling. And many are wondering what's going on here. Is it part also, are there complaints from the portfolios that have been given before? How come this is happening even while they are yet to be sworn in? I think the swearing in is today. Yeah, right here in Abuja. And, the former governor of Osun State is part of the people that has had his portfolio. The first one has been given, has been withdrawn now, is to take charge. It was formerly given transportation. And now it's about blue economy and marine. Someone will still say it still has something to do with transportation as well, maybe on water, we'll look into these and more. Many things happening, but be rest assured it's going to be a bumper ride for today. You're welcome.
No doubt about that. We'll kick things off very shortly with the headlines making the rounds from the newspapers, and we'll definitely serve you the very juicy stories as it's been on the various newspapers. Our conversation this morning will take us traditionally in line with tourism. Tourism is one thing that brings a whole lot of revenue for government at all levels. If you've experienced what tourism looks like in Dubai, what it looks like in most of this Ibiza, look at the money being generated. So we're going to be looking at traditional festival alongside tourism in Osun State. How well do they go pari passu? But just keep your fingers crossed. As much as it is a public holiday, let's relax and enjoy the ride together. We'll take a short break right now. We'll be back. Thank you for being there. All right, let's kick things off at this moment in time. Quite a whole lot of dailies we got for you, and beautiful stories emanating from these dailies, but definitely virtually all the papers for today has got that story about reshuffling of the ministers that will be sworn in much later today. Let's kick things off with me from the pages of Punch newspaper. Let's punch it out this morning. The big bold headline there says, FG prioritizes economy, security as ministers take oath today. You have a writer there. It says, President's 8-point agenda to guide appointee. Ministers complete documentation at SGF office. Tinubu renames Environment Ministry. Appoints Niger Delta Minister, reassigns Oyetola, others. That's the big bold headline there. And you have the picture of the ministers to be sworn in later today doing their documentation yesterday at the SGF's office yesterday. We wish them the very best.
When I saw this picture,
yes,
it gives me, it looks funny in a way that, see, chief executives, maybe there is a standing directive that these must be done by them, actually, because you see them very serious, holding the pen and signing or filling the forms, and then you see them that that's the way to go. You know, one way is even holding a phone, possibly checking an information here.
Let me so I don't make a mistake.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. You see them looking at the picture. You just really caught my attention. Look at the minister of the FCT. You some Wike.
Yes,
you have Badru. You have Lalong. Bagudu. You have the lady Adejon. All of them. We just wish them the very best. And even if you are reshuffling, please let's just do the needful.
Yeah, as much as about Nigerian for the betterment of the nation.
Absolutely.
Nigerians, we, in a manner of speaking, stand on your necks because you have to deliver. People are now more interested in governance. Yeah. So it's not just who gets the juicy portfolios. No, everything that you have been given, as you'll be sworn in possibly in a few hours, you will be held responsible.
And you can trust us right here. We will say it as it is, and we'll definitely communicate. We'll get them across to talk to us how far they have fared in their new disposition at this moment. Let's go to other stories. Farmers abandon farms. 23 Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, LGs under bandits. Oh boy. NDLEA recovers 4.8 billion naira drugs from wanted billionaire's Lagos warehouse. I hope those drugs will not infiltrate the market, even though the billionaire has been apprehended. Hey, Nigerians are watching, please. Miscreants traders take over multi-million naira Lagos bus stops. Why? Why should they be? We'll find out, please. And on the top strip of the same daily, Nigeria loses 249 billion naira in July as oil output drops. Then just beside that same story, CBN loan to manufacturers, aviation firms rise to 5.6 trillion naira. Wow. The last story making the rounds from Punch newspaper. Let's go straight to Niger Republic as ECOWAS reject junta's 3-year transition plan. It seems as if the junta, they are beginning to soft pedal, now trying to propose, look, give us this period, give us till this period. Let's be able to see what we can do in 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, but ECOWAS saying no way.
Yeah.
We'll keep our fingers crossed.
That's more like 3 unlawful years because you toppled an elected government. Either the former president has done well or not. Yeah. He has the mandate of the people. Absolutely. And if actually he has not really done well, I don't know how it works there, but then there is a process of the law to have him removed or impeached. Yeah. But when you go there, gun blazing, to remove him, hold him in hostage, and then you are proposing a 3-year plan. What's the legitimacy? How do you get the support? You know, a whole lot of conversation there.
That will be all from Punch newspaper. Over to Femi.
All right, let's look at the Vanguard for this morning today, August 21st. Vanguard, okay. Niger, ECOWAS, I pick it up where you just ended it there on that paper. ECOWAS rejects a junta's 3-year transition plan. It's absolute rejection. With riders, junta once against foreign intervention. Okay, talks between ECOWAS, junta yield little result, official, and says deep divisions exist within presidential guard. Okay, note majority of soldiers at presidential complex will flee if ECOWAS attacks. And Pope calls for peace in Cool-It Niger. That's a papal, advice, suggestion, of course, from the religious angle there, somebody who has the ears of the people, from the Vatican, you know, telling the people, the both sides of the divide, to go through the peace route, of course. And in the center there, you have the picture, pro-coup rally in Niger Republic. That's one thing I don't get to understand. It's like majority of the Niger people are supporting
the military junta.
The junta.
Yeah.
Because we've seen series of protests on, rally rather, that's not a protest, on the streets, in stadium, and you see them showing support, and then you wonder what's happening. You see people holding pictures now, saying so many things pro-coup, because we've not really seen anti-junta protest. We've not, at least if the news is anything to go by, we have been seeing pro. So it speaks to the fact that the junta appears to be enjoying the support.
It's dicey for me. What I see is, yes, these guys could be sponsored. The pro.
A whole lot of them?
Yeah.
Then there are thousands.
Trust. Look, what can money do? But why?
But then how come we are not seeing the anti-junta?
It to be risky because they could be arrested, they could be killed.
When things happen like this, and then you see persons who are not pro-coup or the coupists right there, you still see pockets of protest here. It has happened in Nigeria before.
Yes.
The civil societies, the FEMI of this world, the Agbekoyas from here, many the Nadekos, they did all they could do, you know. Definitely they protest. Sometimes they come into their shelf, they do it again. How come we have not really seen what is really happening here, you know? But then we wish the Nigerians all the best, because they are the ones that we are really concerned about. And a supporter of Niger National Council of Safeguard of the Homeland, CNSP, holds a placard of Niger's new military ruler, General Abdurrahman Shani, as gathered at Place de la Consente, okay, you pardon my French there, in Niamey yesterday, showing what is happening, showing some support. Now, moving on. Old age poverty to increase as pension coverage stagnates. Population rises. That's disturbing for me. Because when you see people in the twilight of their life who possibly have given their all while they were in service, and now to access their pension, their gratuity becomes a problem. Sometimes I don't get to understand. Can't we get to a level, either at the federal government level or at the various state levels, that one we bow out of service today, and by next month you already have access? Seriously, are these things they're not doable? Is it rocket science? It isn't, because whoever wants to retire should have been putting the files, the documentation, and everything. You log out in August, but in September you get your stuff.
See, there is more to it than meets the eyes. And one thing I always say is, for people who have governed, you've been a governor, you've been a senator, you've been this, you have held high positions. I wish our constitution can just say such people, they're not entitled. Especially those ones that have served for 4 years or 8 years. 8 years. And then they take their political journey to the National Assembly. Again, some of them still drawing salary. Except recently when former Ogun State Governor Gbenga Daniel said, can you please suspend? Not even stop. The language was suspend for Gbenga Daniel, meaning, okay, look, hold it. Hold my pension. Not that you should stop it. But at least it counts for something. Honestly, and then you see people who have served 25, 30 years, and then there is a report here saying old age poverty to increase. You know, and when these patriots, because I call them patriots, the pensioners, when they get to that stage, 60, 65, 70, they have, most of them have medical conditions. Definitely. Because the body has gone through stress. Exactly. And they need all the money. How much is it? And then you see all kind of life screening, and all of these, so many of them collapse as well. Although some state governments are trying, but most definitely they need to do more. Do much more. Seriously. Only 16% of workers have pension protection. Less than 5% of entire citizens covered. These are disturbing figures. Analysts call for more creativity in pension product design. Okay, quickly, energy crisis.
Cost of solar systems rises 120% to 550,000 naira as forex inflation worsens. Now, Isese Day, traditionalists warn Yoruba monarchs against sacrilege. I think there is a story of what is happening, a situation in Osun State of a monarch who has said, you guys should stop idolatry, in his words, idolatry, and whoever does that should be arrested and brought to the palace. And I think in Iwo land, that's what is happening, and there is a back and forth between the royalty and the traditional worshippers because they feel nobody has the power to do that. We look into that as well.
But we just want to thank the Osun State governor who has stepped into this field and tried to bring talk about peace and try to we'll talk about that just as Femi said.
All right, and in sports, Spain beat England 1-0 to win Women's World Cup. I see that many Nigerians are happy that Spain has,
defeated England
because England eliminated Nigeria. So more like your enemy's enemy.
For me, at that moment in time, the hype the English would have given those ladies if they had won that World Cup, female World Cup yesterday, the world will not have that opportunity to breathe well. In the English, they've got it. They will hype you.
The English tabloids.
Oh my goodness.
All kind of superlatives. By the way, shout out to the girls. The winner and the runners up. You have really done well. And to the Falcons as well. That is still another day. Top three, quickly. Brutally frank, many governors wealthier than their states. That's coming from the revered Pa Edwin Clark. NDLEA burst drug warehouse in Lagos, recovers 4.8 billion naira opioids. Okay, and finally, on the Vanguard for today, Tinubu appoints Momo as minister designate for Niger Delta. We move.
Wow. Let's take out other stories making the rounds this morning from the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper, and just as we have said, very common to all the dailies for today. So we'll just reel over them quickly. You have the big bold caption there. It says, Tinubu reassigns Oyetola to Marine, Momo to Niger Delta. A couple of writer says, Alkali Tunjojo Lukpobiri Ekpo affected in minor shakeup. Abuja Agog for ministers induction. Wish them the very best there. Then coming further down, why bank CEOs were barred from foreign trips. You want to know why? It's virtually common to all the dailies, but it's taken from the pages of the Nation newspaper for today. And also, wow, what are these pictures? Are those bandits or kidnappers? Wow. All right, moving further, Isese Day, adherents cautioned in Kwara, Elegushi, Hill Southwest government. Yeah, thank you for the public holiday as well. Then moving further up, the red strip there says, NAMA conducts validation flight ahead ICAO audit. All right, you can check that out. BDCs in talks to boost dollar liquidity. Please do the needful. And on the top strip there, ECOWAS reject Niger junta's transition plan. They must hand over now and return to the barracks. Labor backs tenure system for public sector directors. And inside pages of the Nation there says agenda for ministers. Yes, you want to know more about that, please check it out from the pages of the Nation newspaper that I just reeled out. That'll be all from the Nation newspaper. All right, straight to the Guardian for this morning. Guardian, 7 states in dire straits, economic losses over border closure. 7 states in dire straits, economic losses over border closure. Of course, that has to do with the situation in Niger, the closure of the border, the market that has been affected there, the transaction, buying and selling, agriculture, the produce, exchange of goods and services that goes on at those borders. You want to talk about Zamfara, Sokoto, Kebbi, some of those, Katsina, some of those states that have borders with Niger.
And of course, you have this bold picture there with the map of Nigeria, setting the states that have been affected: Kebbi, Sokoto, Katsina, Jigawa, Yobe, and Borno. They have been affected. Talking about the commerce there. And you see picture of a soldier and then the tank on the other side. Sanctions, if it goes on, it's a lot really. If you want to know the detail, please pick up a copy of The Guardian for today. Moving on, forest crisis, worry over policy inconsistencies as CBN brings back BDCs. Again, okay. Tinubu reshuffles yet to be constituted cabinet, appoints Momo and Niger Delta minister. You know, when this news came out yesterday, many have opined and feel, is this administration really getting it right? How are they, in their words, some feel they are confused or too many power play happening, because in the nomination of the ministers, we've seen withdrawal of nomination, replacement of nominations, addition at the end of the screening, and so many things happening. And then yesterday, reshuffling, we're yet to be constituted, but then it's the prerogative of Mr. President to go about these things as much as within the confines of our law. Okay, in green there, tackling rapid urbanization and proliferation of urban slums. And Mr. President, no justification for bloated cabinet. That's the editorial today on from The Guardian. And condemnation in the bottom strip there in blue. Condemnation trails rowdy distribution of palliatives in Lagos. The story of palliatives, we've seen one from, I think, from Kwara State, many persons complaining. You know, there was one video that went viral that I saw, and they, possibly the leaders of that community, a very analytical person, spoke about the numbers of trailers that came to that state, and then the numbers of bags of rice distributed across the local government, across the wards, and across the units, and in their community. When it got to them, you know, the sub-unit, it was half bag of rice in their community of people, and you know, and the persons got angry. In fact, by the time it's quite a lot, you know. Yeah. Moving on, the top strip there of The Guardian, the front page for this morning. Group alleges plot to blackmail Atiku on case against Tinubu in US. Okay, I think that's all there is about The Guardian front page for this morning.
So quickly, let me just check out some of the other headlines making the rounds from Daily Trust newspaper for this morning. Daily Trust newspaper, the big bold caption there: ECOWAS reject Niger junta's 3-year transition plan. The writer there says pro-coup protesters warn ECOWAS against military action. Pope calls for peace in Niger Republic. And just below that, there is a picture of former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and former INEC Chairman Atairu Jega in Zimbabwe yesterday. Yeah, they are on a mission, observer mission for the election in Zimbabwe.
Sunday, before we go ahead, something is instructive about this picture. Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 vied to be returned as president, by the way. And the electoral umpire was Professor Atairu Jega, who declared President Muhammadu Buhari as the winner. The tantrum shown at that time, thrown by that time by Gosdeu Baby, this was the same man who contended and, you know, according to the laws establishing INEC, and returned President Muhammadu Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, as the duly elected president then. And Goodluck Jonathan, who famously now called President Buhari to congratulate him even before the official announcement. And then you see the two of them working together, still about election. He speaks to the fact that if you're not winning today, you can always win tomorrow. You can always just do things within the confines of the law. And very instructive as well. The leaders, some of them at times, yes, maybe desperate, but they are followers. the foot soldiers are the ones who do the most.
You know,
Do you remember that ugly scene?
Look,
from Urubebe.
Seriously,
we will not agree. We will not take this.
You know, I think,
and the man was just super calm, looking at him.
I think we've discussed it. We said something like that on this show some weeks ago. That I narrated the fact that I think it was at somewhere in Abuja airport where even the former vice president of Atiku Abubakar, the president, they were all
exchanging banter.
They were all just playing, laughing, shaking hands. Then I now wonder when I see their followers maiming themselves, shooting at each other, insulting themselves. And this guy is
going violent on themselves.
Their kids are marrying each other.
Yeah.
They are doing businesses amongst each other.
Of course.
Here we are, the locals, with the followers.
Okay. Okay.
We just
but then this Good Luck Jonathan and Atairu Jega on election mission.
Honestly.
Again. Just, you know, do the needful within the confines of the law. Everybody will be fine. That's just it.
Moving on quickly, Kano Tribunal, beg your pardon, Kano Tribunal, stop influencing judges. TMG cautions politicians and abandoned day-old baby dies in flood. Wow.
Sad.
Very sad that. CBN brings back BDCs, introduces new operational mechanism. Okay. On the top strip of that same Delhi, Tinubu reassigns portfolios, appoints Niger Delta minister, and Benin, Niger, Togo, owe Nigeria 132.2 billion naira energy bills in 4 years. Why would you have waited that long for that kind of humongous amount to be owed?
Benin, Niger, Togo, please pay up. Please pay us our money. We need all the money that we can get at this time. Please.
Absolutely. And lastly, from the pages of Daily Trust newspaper, bandits kill 5 men, kidnap women, rustle animals in Katsina State. So sad. All right. That's just quite a whole lot of what we have for you from the various dailies we have been able to reel out to you. When we come back very shortly, we've spoken about it before. Isese Day was actually yesterday. It was a week-long program, but as it is, yesterday it meant a whole lot. And I like the fact that the government in the Southwest have decided, like, look, there should be a public holiday today and given to them. Let's celebrate tradition and what have you. And I remember in 2013, right here in Osun State, that was when the former governor of the state, Raufa Aregbesola, made it, Isese Day. It will be a festival that will definitely be recognized up in it, just amongst like every other state. But we'll be talking quite a whole lot about that and what it portends. What can that do? Because if Osun just ended, you saw what people came from virtually everywhere around the globe. So it's just a day too. How can this generate tourism revenue for government at all levels? We'll take a short break at this moment in time. When we return, our guests will be seated. We'll do the needful. Stay with us.
Dramatist, playwright, and icon of Yoruba thematic art, Duro Ladipo was born December 18, 1931 in Osogbo, southwest Nigeria. His clergyman father christened him Timothy. His other names, Duro Dola, Duro Shomo, Duro Rike, reflected his persona and the circumstances that surrounded his birth. The legendary stage actor had in several public fora identified himself as one of the greatest abikus born to die in this world. Family records reveal how he was born and died 13 times. The intertwining names he bore thus lent credence to his spiritism. Duro Ladipo was one of the best known and world-acclaimed Yoruba dramatists to emerge from post-colonial Africa. His notable works Obakoso, Obawaja and Moremi took him beyond Africa to several parts of the world. By the time Duro Ladipo died on 11 March 1978, the Nigeria's first cultural ambassador had acquired a towering image as an artist whose works adorned the frontage of Trenchard Hall, University of Ibadan. Western Spring Television identifies Duro Ladipo as a major character in history.
Can you imagine the feeling when you get your news as they break with facts and clarity? Our news are reported as it is.
In Africa, and all those who masterminded the way it happened will have to pay a price.
Enjoy Western programs projecting culture and tradition to the world. Brought to you as they break and recapped every hour for your update.
Fellow Nigeria, how to improve your welfare is of paramount importance to me.
Produced and brought to you in a unique way never before seen.
Western Spring
and Western Spring Television. Television is coming home in your color and culture.
Aminatu, the legendary queen of Zazzau, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazzau. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazzau. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazzau by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the queen of Zazzau, as a brave, smart and talented leader whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history. Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Fumilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Kololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on the 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Fumilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Hilas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in the deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. The Berlin Conference of 1884 defined the configuration of Africa, which hitherto existed as a continent of multiple kingdoms and empires under native rulers. The conference, otherwise referred to as Congo Conference, regulated European colonization and trade in Africa as initiated by German leader Otto von Bismarck. The Berlin Conference is often called the scramble for and partitioning of Africa, as each of the imperial powers carved separate portions of the continent for themselves without recourse to racial and cultural identities and differences. 137 years after the Berlin Conference was held, Africa remains a legitimized playground for European nations that sought to exploit its wealth and resources and manipulate its human capital to promote trades and investments of Western powers. Western Spring Television identifies Berlin Conference as a major event in history. James Ajibolaige was a lawyer who obtained his first degree in classics from Nigeria's premier University of Ibadan. Born September 13, 1930, the orator and the polyglot spoke impeccable English, French, Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages. His fine diction placed him among classical orators and public speakers like Cicero, the Roman orator. This attribute earned him the prefix Cicero of Esauke. He authored Kaduna Boy, an autobiography, Detainee's Diary, Constitution, and The People, among 6 other books. Bolaige was a colorful politician, elected governor of Oyo State in 1979 and appointed a federal minister in 1999. He was a pioneer founder of Afenifere, the Yoruba socio-cultural and political group. He invested his political sagacity to propel the group to the height of political leadership and decision-making in the southwest of Nigeria. Bolaige was assassinated on the 23rd December 2001. His murderers are yet to be apprehended till today. Western Spring Television identifies Bolaige as a watershed character in history. The British Empire was the largest and the most powerful in the world. At its zenith, the empire embraced a quarter of the earth's land surface and imposed her imperial majesty's rule on more than 458 million peoples across nations and continents.
Thank you for being here with us. It's still Morning Spring from Western Spring Television. Beautiful Monday morning it is. It is a public holiday in the southwestern state of Nigeria because of one major reason, and that reason has to do with Isese Day. Isese Day. It is a traditional festival that is observed among traditionalists, and which the governments of all the southern states have said, hey, we should definitely imbibe this tradition, this culture, and let's give respect to the deities as well. Before the modernization of everything, yes, this was majorly one of the things that Nigerians, the world at large, not just Nigerians, we knew our great-great-great-great-grandfathers. I don't know how many of the grandfathers FEMI has, great-great-great, not just the great-great-great-grandfathers who probably had all those deities. You've heard about the fact where you hear they will speak to one and he'll give them this, is it Osun they call it, that he gives them feedbacks. And there's so much of culture, most especially in the Yoruba region here, and we respect all these deities. We respect them in the biggest of ways, in the biggest of forms. And today we will be looking at that point, Isese Day. It brings a whole lot of people together. And just as we discussed before we went on break, the Osun Festival, it is one festival that brings virtually everybody from around the globe, coming in as far as from Australia, Japan, the United States, into this great state of Osun State. So, Isese Day, we will discuss that and how this tourism, it should be bigger than this, or what do you think, Femi? Yeah. Where we can really have people making government at all levels to generate many revenue from this aspect of tourism, whereby you have tourists to come in.
Very right.
To come in here.
The place of tradition, culture, these celebrations, these festivals, how can that improve our tourism potential? Really, we have talked about Osogbo, the Odun in Ile-Ife, there is one done in Ijesha land around December. I've forgotten the name now. Iwude, thank you, sir. Iwude Festival, many, and of course, so many monumental sites, so many natural, sites as well that gives exciting things that are just natural to us. How can we benefit? What's the government doing to improve our tourism? Many nations of the world, many cities are known for that, and that will be the conversation. And at this point, we're bringing the right person to converse with.
And that, the right person, the man who is bestowed with that power to really talk about culture and tourism is no other person than the Commissioner of Culture and Tourism. It's a pleasure to have with us Honourable ABIODUN. We like to call him Fafa up in here. Honourable Commissioner, good to have you and good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Ekaro.
Oh, okay.
Ekojumo.
Okay.
Aboruboyo. Well, I have to start that way simply because the essence of what's being here is about culture, the Isese Day, and the promotion and the uplifting of the culture. Because a house without foundation is just a
Definitely, I concur. Let's begin at this moment in time. Let's look at what is the plan of government for the growth of tourism in Osun State. Where do we stand right now?
To God be all the glory. I appreciate my governor, His Excellency, Senator Ademola Anuruddin Jackson Adeleke, for making a point of interest tourism as one of the 5-point agenda of his government. So, you know, the moment he sees that tourism has a future, it has a potential, it has a means of improving Osun, that's why he's made it a point of one of his main agenda. And be as it may, we do the best we can to make him move. We've started already. If you notice what happened in Osun 2 or 3 weeks ago, you see that a lot of them have been done. If you get to Osun Grove 6-7 months ago and you got to Osun Group 2 weeks ago, you see a lot of difference. And we are making it. And we're just starting. And by the support of understanding our people and support of Almighty God, we move this thing ahead. And we generate funds from our tourist centers. And, you know, fortunately, I'm glad to tell you that the UNESCO people came around about last week. They commended Osun government for what they have done. And that's to tell you a part of what we're doing and what we're going to do. We will try our best as possible to make tourism and culture a very good source of generating revenue for Osun State.
All right. You know, Commissioner, talking about tourism, it's huge. It has a huge potential to drive revenue growth in any state, in any city, in any region. You know, just before we came here, we were talking about Ibiza in Spain. You know, that's where people go all the way to. The UAE is generating so much fund. The Dubai experience, so many things built around it. Some cities in France as well do that. Of course, in Israel, Jerusalem, in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, although those ones have religious inclination to that. But then it has huge potential to generate. And many persons will say, Osun has just been sleeping in a kind of way for years on tourism site. You want to talk about, you have just talked about the Osun Groove, the festival that was just concluded a week or two ago, the Osun Festival, international for that matter, of course, with UNESCO endorsement, the Eringesha waterfall. I've been there a couple of times myself, and you want to see the access road, very bad. And then you look around the community, you know, you want to look, okay, if somebody wants to come here and have a nice time, or shoot a movie, or do something, do business around here, no good access road, no hotel, no hostel around that place. The security is just as, not that something bad is happening, but many persons who are security conscious will say this place is too open, you know, to go through all that. The Odunolojo Festival, you just talked about the Iwude Festival, and many of those things, people want to know an itemized plan of what the state government has for these sites. I think there is Pakiti in Okini, many things that Osun has is a natural gift. It's not going away soon. What are we doing the needful? People need to know.
Well, thanks so much for your expression, for your analysis, for your observation. I'm glad to tell you that a lot of things have started happening. First, I'll give you an example.
Yes, please.
There was a major misunderstanding in Eringesha.
Okay.
The people there were angry. And they came around. We talked to them, spoke to them. I can tell you authoritatively now, the road you mentioned, ramp people have been sent there to start work. Because we know what we want. We know what we can do. And we know what's important is to them. You see, tourism is a very broad thing.
Yes.
It helps the people at home. It helps people coming around to relax. A lot of time, those tourist attractions have spiritual influences to people that come around. Now, you mentioned security. I think for Eringesha, we'll start basically, we've made sure that the police post is ready now. The road is being done. The mentality center is going to be taken up. So for the community to be comfortable with us coming to them. So now everything like security, The hotel issue you are talking about, that's where the ingenuity of our people will now come into it. Government cannot do it alone. Private partnership will have to come into play. You see, you mentioned Ibiza, you mentioned all those. There are lots of countries who are basically living on tourism.
That's right.
Why can we not? It is our attitude, yours and mine. But the government is ready today. The government of Senator Ademola Adeleke is ready today to come to move together all those potentials and put it in a kinetic energy for it to kickstart. So very soon, you see the action. We have plans. The basic thing I will tell on television today that we know where we are going. We know where we are coming from. I will not tell you what exactly we are going to do. Yeah. But I know, like you said, you are mentioning things. Owala Dam is there in the Okene area. Owala Dam is about a very broad place that can even generate electricity. Now I said tourism is a broad-based issue. So electricity will bring in power. We know what we are doing about that. The IDOWU festival, the Olojo festival brings people in, and is it when you have social, communal peace, it's even more important than money you are spending about. So when you do Olojo, people are happy. When you do Osun, people are happy. When you do IDOWU, people are happy. Things will come to normalcy, and there will be peace of mind for the government, peace of mind for the people. And when you have peace of mind, government can move on. Absolutely.
Of course. And you have the lake that we just talked about in Okini.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very beautiful one.
Beautiful.
But some will say there's a huge potential that's not been tapped.
Yeah. We are working on it now. Now. I can tell you authoritatively. But let me even tell you, I'm not a dreamer. I'm a practical person. This is a very huge business. It may or it cannot be done alone by government. People who are interested, people who could do one or two things are being encouraged to come into play. So we can do things and put the place in a very beautiful thing. Like, few years ago, Akwa Ibom Cross River was nowhere. But now, you will see Osun action very soon. You see us.
Speaking about cross rivers, and it took the ingenuity of the leader at the time. That's the governor. Governor Osun to go all the way, and people knew cross rivers for that tourism. The Calabar, many things that happened at that time. They have a yearly, Festival. The carnival they do at December. People come in and definitely as a way of improving the economy. People selling food, people providing services and everything is even televised on cable TV, and that is the level in as much God or nature has bestowed on us these gifts, and we can't just. But then I'd like to ask you, dear Commissioner, that when it comes to, let's speak about festival, many persons, in a way, they like the culture, but then they don't want to identify with the festival because they believe the traditional religion comes with its own, negativity, sacrifices, initiations. And so the moment culture or traditional religion is mentioned, you see people being cautious and wary. Is this what it is, or what step is the state government taking rather to let the people know that, yes, this festival exists, your faith exists as well, but the place of culture, the place of tourism in all of this, please help us, enlighten us. Hope you understand what I'm saying. Exactly. Because the moment traditional worship is mentioned, some people are like, okay, please.
Step back.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's a matter of perspectives. I will tell you, I'll use myself as a very practical example. Yes. Yesterday morning, I was in my second service at Winners Chapel. I'm a Christian. I was in church. I danced to my God. I enjoyed myself. I'm in the presence of my God, Almighty God. But on a situation of call to duty, I was at Isese as the representative of the governor. Now, there are two different things. Culture, religion. The faith you have in church is the Isese they have in traditional belief. Religion is an open-ended thing. Tradition, religion, I don't think they are all entirely the same thing. They're different. You have traditional religion, our modern religion. They are two different things. So if what I believe in as a religion person is different from my tradition. Your tradition is your source. There is nobody who doesn't have a source. You, wherever you come from, is it the moment you use of identity? You are nowhere. Our tradition is our identity. You get the Americans, hip hop, rap. That is their own style. Ours is Fuji. It's the traditional, all those traditional music, juju, drama, things like that. They are different things. But mind you, the line between is too thin. That if care is not taken, you may not be able to differentiate. But it's a function of your mind. It's your belief. I'm a Christian, but I promote this culture we're talking about for now.
So let's look at what's the plan of government to improve tourism in Osun State without stepping or disregarding the likes of the traditionalists and traditional culture in the state. If you help us out.
Is it like I said earlier, there is a difference between the two. Tourism, culture. Culture, traditional worship.
Yeah.
You understand? They are different things. Like when I was in Osun, my governor was there. We were there for the cultural aspect of it. When they went to do the traditional thing, we did not go with them. Do you understand? People that do those ones are known. Ocho people, they will go and do their normal thing. But the cultural aspect, to promote our values, we were there. And we did very well. I danced very well. My governor did give us a very good dance. And I did too.
But in the course of all these festivals that we have, are there plans to probably... the world is getting modernized these days, and that's the flow everybody's trying to follow. Are there plans to remodernize, if I can use that word, or modernize things? Because it is a source of huge revenue if properly maintained and if properly achieved. What are the plans of the state government at this point in time? Yes, some might say we are less than a year in this government, but what have you? Is the government of this day, led by His Excellency Governor Ademola Adeleke, looking into modernizing these festivals, these cultures, looking at the kind of man he is, whereby he is an entertainer in his own field. He likes to dance, he likes to do the needful, to be social. He is a social man. Is it putting in an aspect of that lifestyle of his to bring that culture into perspective in Osun State?
Thanks so much. Let me make a clarification. You cannot modernize. You can only improve.
Improve.
The moment you modernize tradition, you destroy it. We are doing a lot to improve the status of our different traditional institutions and tourist centers. Let me give you a practical example. Yes. The Osun again. UNESCO in the agreement signed that place should be preserved. No modern thing, no nothing. It should be as it is, as a national heritage. So we are doing a lot to improve on those sites. Improve. We are not modernizing it.
Okay.
But in any case, there are so many aspects about it. When we say traditional site, we can modernize the marketing aspect of it. Because the only thing that you can bring in money is that when you market. Absolutely. Our marketing is that you get to our websites, our positions. People can get information anytime, anywhere, from without coming to us. We will do that. But we will basically preserve and improve on the different sites.
All right. Speaking about improving, we've talked about the marketing side and giving people some kind of orientation to know that this is your heritage. this is where you just talk about everybody definitely has a source. And let me take us back a little. The King of England was recently, enthroned. And going through the culture, you got to understand, I was at a place and we're having conversation that this is culture. You saw the process went for days, and at each day they have what they do.
Yeah.
On the coronation day, you could see they brought rings, they brought some containers, they brought, each person has a role to do. And then the conversation is, if this is in Africa, if this is in Nigeria, there is a way we look those things as being fetish. By the way, it was their culture. And when it comes from that side, when I mean that side, from the
Western world.
Yes, we see it as normal. This normal. So when it's from this side,
We see it as fetish.
we see it as being fetish. What's the state government doing to change their orientation? Not just to speak, but to show that this is the way to go. Because when you see that on that coronation day, there was a ring that was brought out. If the same ring has been brought out in Osun or in Ekiti, people will see it as being fetish. But it's their way of life.
Sorry, I won't start from two of you this morning. We are all part of our problems.
How do you mean?
We are on here for a Isese day. My dear friends are putting on suit and tie.
This is the start of
Wait.
I knew you were coming to that.
we are here for a program discussing Isese.
Yes. If you are here for Isese, you propagate it. You sell it. You should be proud of it. It doesn't mean if your religion does not permit you, you are free to do it. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
If you're a Muslim, if you're a traditional thing, we live together. So that's part of what we're talking about.
Okay.
That is one. You see, when we're talking about the process of enthronement of the King of England, they value their source, they value where they were coming from. To even have to eat. When the Prime Minister was coming in, is India baby?
Pakistani. Yes, sir.
Did you see the rituals he was doing?
Yes. Rishi Sunak.
Yeah. You know what he was
He's
doing?
of Indian origin. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
India is of Indian origin. You know what he was doing? People are not talking. We have ego. We have is it ego or we lack the confidence to propagate our things. We like to copy. Like we just copy wearing ties and shirts now. Let us understand what we have is ours and we love it. I do wear suits, but I can't remember. I always wear suits, wear jeans. That's a way of life. But the tradition is that let us keep our heritage to ourselves. Let us know what we are, what is done. So the Osun thing, the government aspect is even very small. They don't even just encourage you. It is our own personal attitude. We have a lot of traditional attitudinal changes that's causing a lot of problems. See, before we used to value relationship, there's no more value of communal relationship again. That's part of where our problem starts. Let us go back to our source, trust ourselves. Let me give one very bad example of things. In those days, if you kept your yam on the road and put something on it, nobody will ever touch it.
Absolutely.
And keep your car outside now. And even don't put maximum security if they will not. So these things are it's a change in our attitude. But the government will try as much as it can.
And that's why I'm asking, what's the state doing to change the orientation?
That's what I'm saying.
So that coming from Africa, coming from Nigeria, coming from Osun doesn't make it fetish.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it bad.
That's what I'm saying. Because
that's the orientation.
That's why I said I'm a Christian. I went to church yesterday, first day, before I went for the program. We should differentiate between my life and my religion, my life and my culture, my life and my tradition. Those are the things we've not been able to differentiate. We will do our best to educate our people to know their differences, to know their lines, their boundaries, their borders, their borderline to each and all of these positions. So we do it.
All right, just to make a clarification, you just accused us of wearing suits on Isese now. It's there is a system on that, because that means if we are to go by that, whenever we discuss sports, We must wear jersey. And whenever we,
no, that should look. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
This program we are hearing now.
Yeah.
Will go viral. I want you to see. I want me and you and all of us see that we are promoting our culture.
All right, and that's part of what we are doing here. Definitely. That's why we're having this conversation.
There's nothing stopping you, my dear brother, from having a studio room where you can change for this program and go back and change.
Noted.
All right.
Noted. Honourable Commissioner, let's look at some of these major festivals we have here in Osun State. We just concluded the OSOGBO Festival. We've seen the very beautiful work of His Excellency towards that groove.
Thanks so much for saying it.
No, when we see it as it is right here on Western Spring Television. There are other things that we will expect Mr. Governor and his administration to probably
do something on that road before you get there.
Okay, thank you. You've actually caught me at it, because just like Femi had rightly said, it is one very important thing. The road network.
We will do something on that road.
Iseshe's Day came up yesterday. We've heard of what the cabbies, the Olu of Iwo, and looking at what Mr. Governor did to bring down the feud about this should not happen in my domain and what have you. What is it looking like at this moment in time? Has that been put to rest? Is everything normal in Iwo as at this time?
As journalists, you should have had.
Yeah, it's always good to hear from the horse's mouth.
You must have heard as of yesterday. The Isese was done in Iwo. So that is there is no cause for any major alarm. Everything. And let me tell you one thing. My governor, His Excellency Adimola Jackson Rudi Adeleke, is a human manager. And the best you can do to your people is to manage your people. He has done that one, he has managed that situation, and it has come under control. And if you go to your social media, you will see Olu that we've been talking about. He's been sponsoring Egungun and all those issues. And I think those issues are calmed and nerves are calm now.
And so that we put a perspective to that, a context, is the fact that for many possibly who are not aware, there was a proclamation, so to speak, from the Oluwo before now that it's a shared traditional worshipping should not be had in Iwo land.
Proclamation.
Yes, so that... I'll come back to you so that you set the record straight. But then he even was reported to have said that anybody who tries that, anybody who's tried that should be quote unquote arrested and brought to the palace because you only worship God Almighty, and that threw so many controversies up because many felt, okay, he's the king, he has the say, but many traditional worshippers feel this is culture, this is heritage. You don't have quote unquote the right to to ban these things, and there was this back and forth on the matter, and then we heard the Osun State government intervened on the matter. So as it is this morning, dear Commissioner, the resolution of the state government, is it just to call for peace for the moment, at the moment, or it's a perpetual thing? I mean, it's a permanent thing.
I told you the issue is resolved. Whatever be the differences has been settled. Meanwhile, life is dynamic. See, in the rap saying, they are saying that I'm unconstitutional. Lola,
you might have to translate that.
Because the Babalawo does not know what's going to happen tomorrow. That's why I tell you, come the next 5 days. Because I'm bringing this into just to tell you that in every life, in every situation, there are dynamics. Anything can happen. Anybody can die. Anybody can become anything. So the issue is resolved now, but the continuous management of that issue will be. If there are differences, we sort it out, we speak about it, and the problem is solved. So there is no, because there is no coercion. It is we live to understand ourselves. There are rules, there are laws, there are basic things, there are fundamental things. When you have argument, Look, these are the basics. You don't need to argue about it. And I'm sure that the basics were discussed when they were setting those things. When the basics are discussed, you don't go beyond it again. And with that, I think...
When you say basic, how do you mean basic?
Basic is the fundamental, the rules, the basic thing you talk about. See, okay, this is Western Spring.
Yes, sir.
You're having your program this morning. This is the program for this time. That's your basic thing. Those are the basic things you do. So I won't come and you're having a session now. Nobody just come and look, it's not time for hip hop. So you don't mix things up. You do it as it is done.
Mr. Commissioner, Honorable Commissioner, sir, let's look at culture and tourism here in Osun State. How well are we doing to export this trade to the outside world? There's quite a whole lot that goes up in here. I've seen adire being made fantastically here in Osun. We've had quite a whole lot of adire makers come on different shows on this station. And we have the cane, there's beautiful things that happens here.
Local musicians.
What is government doing at this moment in time to promote and export these things to the outside world? Because you and I know you've been virtually far and near, far and wide all over the world. You see what it looks like, how we are well appreciated. When the whites see the adire on you, when they see you make this guy, they tend to want to identify with us. Yeah. What is the state government doing? Yeah. What are the plans to
and
make
just
sure
to add
do
to that? During the former administration of former Governor Adegboga Itola, I think Thursdays was declared as Adire Day. The civil service, the teachers, people in the civil service wear that to work. So just to add that, the export of the culture, the things that we do here to show the outside world and then to set an example as well. But then we have to go on a short break now. And when we come back, the Honorable Commissioner is still very here, and we have an addition as well. Please stay with us. It's still Morning Spring on Western Springs Television. We'll be right back.
Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was an educationist and advocate of women's rights. She was recognized for her vitriolic comments against colonial policy of taxation as it affected the Nigerian women. Bere, as fondly addressed by her women followers, Funmilayo championed the initiation of universal adult suffrage, which gave an unprecedented leeway for women to contest elective offices and power to exercise voting rights. Married to a foremost educationist and teacher, Israel Oladotun Ransom Kuti, the first president of Nigeria Union of Teachers, Funmilayo Ransom Kuti was the mother of children who inherited her spirit of activism. Olufela and Be Ololari, the former, a renowned musical legend. She was the first female student of Abeokuta Grammar School and the first female to own and drive a car in Nigeria. The award recipient of Member of Order of Nigeria MON and Lenin Peace Prize, was born on 25th October 1900 and was killed on 13th April 1978 by rampaging road soldiers in Lagos. Western Spring Television identifies Funmilayo Ransom Kuti as a watershed character in history. Silas Olayinka Herbert Macaulay, politician, nationalist and journalist, was the first Nigerian to qualify as a civil engineer, surveyor and architect. Born on November 14, 1864, Herbert Macaulay was the founder of Nigeria's National Democratic Party, the first political party in pre-independent Nigeria. Scholars of Nigeria's political history describe Herbert Macaulay as the intellectual bulldog of 19th century Nigerian nationalist movement, in deference to his qualities as founder and leader of two foremost political parties, Nigeria National Democratic Party (NNDP) and National Council of Nigerian Citizens (NCNC). His matchless versatility in party organization and control kept the British colonialists on their toes in the entire span of his active life. After his death on 7th May 1946, Herbert Macaulay remains a hero of his country, which recognized his anti-colonial struggles. Today, Nigeria's 10 naira coin bears his oval face and trademark moustache. Western Spring Television identifies Herbert Macaulay as a major character in history. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule.
We are so very blessed here in Osun State and Nigeria as a whole, because why we have the very best when it comes to tradition, culture of those festivals. We take good care of them and we plan. And I know that government at all levels are planning to make sure that these festivals, this tradition, this culture, these festivals are not just taken with levity at any point. If you're just joining us, we'd like to say thank you for being there. It is still Morning Spring right here from Western Spring Television. And before we went on that short break, we have been speaking with the Honourable Commissioner for Culture and Tourism in Osun State. And a man, wow, he is culture in the very best. And that is Honourable ABIODUN. Thank you for staying with us and joining us again in the studio at this moment in time. It's a pleasure to have the AJANA of Osogbo land, Dr. OLUSEYI ATANDA. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Isese, there's a way we greet Isese, the Isese Lagba, or something like this.
Isese Agbe.
Isese, yeah, thank you, Isese Agbe Gogo. Because I know before you came in, Honourable Commissioner had actually thrown a dig at FEMI and I that we probably should have been in traditional ways. But
which I agree.
The program.
And it's in commemoration for today.
Yeah, we concur. We'll go further. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of the show this morning. Let's before we come to Doctor, let's come back to some of the few things we have been looking at. We have been looking at tourism and culture in Osun State. But quickly, because of the want of time, let's look at Erinjesha waterfalls. Over the years, even as a little boy, ever since I got to this planet, I've always heard of that, and it's a beautiful place to go to see what the waters look like and the fall. But these days, we've heard that it's so risky to climb that waterfall because there is no safety precaution in case anything. And these are things whereby if you look at them, the white men, the developed world, they tend to find measures towards it. Are there plans? Let me say, is the government, are there plans to do the needful towards making that place a more lucrative business for the state government?
Thanks so much, my dear brother. You know, as I said earlier that the tourism part of Osun is a very big issue. And most of it, we need to bring in people from the private sector to get involved. Okay. We don't want to make it a principally government issue because there's revenue to be generated. I have information about how the revenue are generated on some occasions in that place. The government will give individuals, groups, consortium who are interested the best and right situation to develop those areas. Government may not be able to do it alone. You know, it is an investment for businessmen. Their money will come back. Osun State will be developed. So we are planning to work hand in hand to move Osun up. What you say, your observation about the
yes.
Yeah, close to being right. Close to being right. Because I need to say it as it is.
Thank you.
It was like the previous government were not really. Maybe people were just interested in one or two things, but totally, we want to be holistic in our addressing it. See, the people came around, they complained about the water. We are addressing that issue for now. Because to encourage them, basic issues for their own welfare should be addressed. And we are doing that for now.
All right.
And we will very much, I'm using this opportunity, if I'm to please call on our brothers, foreigners who are interested to come around and talk to Osun government. We're interested in talking to them. And I trust my governor is very much interested in talking to them to lift that place up. You see, by the time that place is done, the revenue will be generated to Osun. We want to improve our IGR. The more our IGR is improved, look, people will be better for it. Is it like the money we are spending on Osun Festival for sure? You know, it is preservation of that center. But a place like Olumiri, a place like Owaladan, a place like Ayikunuba, if they are developed, private partnership or whatever, bringing money. You know, I love the way you show that Owaladan the other time. A lot of people from Australia believe such a thing is in Osun. And I appreciate people too. I encourage you to do more for us. We will. We will still come over to you, take you on a tour, take a slot, advertise what we have in Osun.
All right. So we will definitely be expecting that. But then we'll come to Dr. OLUSEYI, the AJANA of Osogbo land. Let me congratulate you and on the Isese Day. Definitely the finale we had was had yesterday. Now let's start from here. What's the significance of having that celebration?
Yeah, thank you very much. The significance of Isese Day is primarily to recognize our heritage. That starts by asking ourselves, what does Isese mean?
Okay.
Isese is our existence. It is recognition of God the Father in your life, that there is a God. Number two, there are deities, orishas, iromolins, that God has handed specific responsibilities to for creating the world and our existence. Then, number three is recognize the presence and the significance of your ancestors. Your father, your mother, then your own personal ori. So for the average Isese individual, there are four principalities. God Olodumare, the deities, the ancestors, and your inner self, your ori, the soul within you. So when we do Isese festival, It is to give thanksgiving to all of them that this is where I am today, and to ask God for more blessings. That is what an Isese person does. Then the beauty of Isese festival, that it is celebrated in every state, in every part of the world. Because don't be taken aback. Isese festival is celebrated in Kogi. It is celebrated in Benue. It is celebrated in Edo, Delta, Calabar, Onitsha, and also in the diaspora. Because that is the only festival that is the unification of all the Orishas. That is why we call it the Universal Day for Traditional Religion. In Brazil, it was celebrated. In the Caribbean, it was celebrated. In America, it was celebrated. In Europe. So that's unlike when we do Ifa Festival. Ifa Festival is festival for Babalawos. When we do Shango Ede, it is for Shango people. When we do Shango Oyo, it's for the Shango people in Oyo and the likes. When we do Obatala in January, when we do Olojo in October. But the Isese festival is unification of every Orisha and every existence of man.
So
that's the beauty of it.
Global.
It's a global thing.
Celebration.
Yeah, that's why it's called Universal Day for Traditional Religion.
Yeah, so Doctor, help us out here, because just like I know we've spoken to Honourable Commissioner about this in one way. Isese Festival, how are the traditionalists trying to improve on this tradition? Because most people see it at once they begin to pour, they see it as something fetish. But you've made a clarification. It is an aspect of the God, the Father, the deity. You mentioned. So when I listen to all things like this, I say, so where's the ritual thing about this? Where's the fetish things associated to this? He was in church yesterday, and when he finished from church, he was still there.
Yeah.
How well are we trying to improve the knowledge, to create the awareness about, look, these are traditional things that we should know about?
Especially the negativity attached to it. Traditional worshiping, culture, and then whenever people hear or they see people do these things, there's this fear that somebody is there to attack me, to affect me, to use spirituality to just manipulate, and the ritual aspect of it.
I'll try to quickly tackle everything.
Please.
And usually when I talk, I try to use life phenomena to talk about things, so that instead of talking abstract, let's talk reality. I'll quickly go to Osun Festival.
Okay, great.
Osun Festival is all about rituals, Osun people. But the crowd you found at Osun Festival, are we all traditionalists? That means you should sit down, think that there must be more to it. The crowd you found there were Muslims, there were Christians, there were diasporans. So just like the former governor of Osun State said some time ago, that it is the Orisha people that are the largest in number. Because it is only in the Orisha festival that you will find non-Olorisha there. You will not find traditionalists at Eid during Ileya. You will not find and you will not find Christians there. When it comes to the Christian festival too, when they are going to Galilee or the other, you will only find Christians. You won't find Muslims, you won't find traditionalists. But come to our festival, you find everybody. That is our heritage. That is our culture. It's our blood.
It's not
the basis.
It's our blood.
It's not the religion, it's the culture.
So when you go back to even Olojo to look at the crowd you find at Olojo, are we all traditionalists? So to a large extent, a large percentage of the society now recognizes that you can't do away with your culture. Once you are doing away with it, you are in the naked. It's your nudity. And there's a problem. Now coming to whether being fetish or the likes, it's just calling a dog a bad name to be able to nail it.
Doctor, is it
It's not fetish.
Is it not?
I'll give you an example. I said life phenomenon.
Yes, please.
When the sailor decides to sail his ship, or the naval officer, if you have water, what is the first thing they do?
They ring the bell.
After that,
Then there is the noise.
they take a champagne.
Oh, okay.
What do they do?
The
They
celebration.
point into the street.
Yeah, that's.
But they've made it colorful. Take a champagne, everybody shout, shake.
pop.
But have you ever seen a ship sail without pouring that? Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. No ship sails without pouring champagne or liquor into the ocean. Let's leave that. There are some other religious adherents. Whether periodically or whatever, is Isese the only religion that kills animals? Why are we deceiving ourselves? What do they do during Ileya? Can we do an Ileya without killing a goat? If we are the ram, if we are the only fetish people, then let every other person deceased. Don't we put fruits together in the church to say we are doing a celebration? Don't let's deceive ourselves. Every religion is ritualistic. Even when a certain Messiah or prophet was born, I won't mention it so that it does not look like we are attacking religion. What did they say? They said 2 pigeons were brought before to appease his existence. Unfortunately for us, the major problem we have as Yorubas or as Africans is we agree too much to what the white man says and at the expense of what is ours. Let's quickly come back to recent. King Charles was installed on
just
was
said
that not ritualistic? There was a white goat that was used. There were pigeons there. There was a stone that was brought, and they said it's an ancient stone. Okay, now okay. What ball okay? Before Charles ascended the throne,
Doctor, because
they brought a model of a hand and put a ring there. It's the same thing we do for our
doctor,
for him to be in control of his kingdom.
Because
we are all ritualistic.
Because of the want of time, we had this narrative before you came in. You know, the coronation of King Charles and the rest of everything that played out. But why that negativity? And what are the traditionalists doing to let the people know that this doesn't have to be about darkness? This doesn't have to be about negativity whenever traditional worshiping
thank you very much. I think with the support of government now and a few people in the media space like you, so much awareness has come and so many people have retraced their steps. Where tradition was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's not where it is today. Let's quickly fast forward to Ilorin. Look at the number of people commenting about the issue in Ilorin, saying traditionalists must have their right, they must have their space. NBA has come in, Yoruba nationalistic groups, different stakeholders, are they also traditionalists? So I think to a large extent, a good number of people have woken up to say, no, that was a deliberate thing to steal from us. And if you look at what Lord Lugard and Lord James, I think, wrote then before independence, 1846 or thereabout, the first man that wrote that this is a land of honey and gold. You cannot take from them without destroying their culture, because the culture is the identity of anybody. And you cannot take a man's culture without destroying his religion, because culture and religion pushes culture. So to stagnate culture, you must take his religion out for. That was just what they did. But to the glory of God, quite a number of people are coming back. What we say now is Ambe láyé, irú àwa wà nílé ayé o, Ifá ò ní run. Ifá ò lè run. Our culture cannot go into extinction.
Is there a difference between religion and culture?
Yes and no.
How so?
Culture and religion are interwoven.
Okay.
Culture is a manifestation of a group of people who are living together and bound by a common thing. What binds us together? We are Yorubas, we have ancestors, so we begin to have a way of life. While religion pushes that culture, the faith system, the belief system of those people who live together. Quickly use an example. Our religion teaches us, honor thy father, honor thy mother. It is our culture that now tells us that prostrate before your father, prostrate before your mother as a man, and as a woman, kneel before them. A different culture also says, honor thy father, honor thy mother, the religion also. But what does their culture say? Squat before your father and squat before your mother. So you cannot separate religion and culture. There are some instances you will practice just the culture. At some other instances, you will practice the religion.
Because that's what I was asking. Some persons want to identify with the culture.
No problem.
They don't want to practice
no problem.
No, but it seems inseparable.
No, sorry.
Yes,
Doctor,
Honourable Commissioner.
Just to add to it and to make a better clarification. Doctor, we have a culture. In same culture, we have Oya, we have Onisogbo, we have Edogungo.
Yeah.
Are those people, is it not a different religion or different belief? Do you understand? So religion and culture is broad. Religion could be
individualistic.
Exactly.
It's about you.
It's about, look, Isese, it's about faith. What you believe in. So that's why the religion comes in.
Yeah.
So the religion that comes in, it's like A is a subset of B.
Exactly.
So that's just the situation. Culture is broader.
And that is why we also say that when it comes to Ifa, Ifa is just beyond religion. If you have gone deep to research into what is called Ifa, yes, in the beginning we said Ifa is the esoteric language of God. It is the beginning, it is the word. But Ifa teaches you religion. Ifa teaches you culture. Ifa teaches you arts. It teaches philosophy. It teaches sociology. It teaches science.
Exactly.
It teaches medicine. It teaches so that's why you must look at it beyond religion. Holistic. That's why we say that as a Yoruba man, forget religion. Let's speak what are the lessons from our culture.
You've just taken me to that point. Sorry, Femi.
Yeah.
Right. Let me come straight to Honourable Commissioner at this moment in time. What are the plans of the state government? Because all these things, just like what Doctor has been able to reel out here, are we ready to take them to schools so that the younger generation that we have, they will not begin to mix things up and say, no, this is fetish, it's devilish, there's too much grammar in the world today. Are there plans to really create that awareness history? Let's take it back to our schools.
You know, I told you earlier that we lost it along the line. Because when I was younger, there used to be what we call Oluro. I don't know if you know what's called Oluro.
What's that?
Oluro. Doctor, Oluro is a traditional dance. It's like, when they do it, maybe on same time with the Google in where I come from.
Yeah, that sectional, where you have come from.
No, I'm just saying,
which is good, but now they don't do it again.
Listen, I'm bringing it to the aspect of teaching.
Okay.
Yes.
I just use that as the example of teaching.
Yes.
Because what you don't know, what you don't see, you don't learn. What you don't learn, you won't know. What is not transmitted, you cannot be there. You know, at a point in time, you are studying history in school.
Yes.
At a point in time, they stopped it.
Yes.
And to lose your identity is a major disservice to yourself. And I think, well, this week, Osun State government is having an educational summit. Some of these things will be discussed.
Okay.
The perspectives of each and every individual and community, society and association will be brought up. If it's on a large scale that those things should be brought to school, well, we will do it. You understand? Because, look, to even digress, when King Charles was being coronated, who played there? Who was the musician that played? Who was one of the musicians that played? Tiwa Savage
was there.
Was at the opening.
A Yoruba girl, a Yoruba lady. That is to tell you the richness in our culture. That we can even develop on it and make it broader. So as to that, we know what to do about teaching them and making them realize that it is their background. It doesn't change their religion.
All right. Honourable Commissioner, because we are crossing them gradually now, How are you working with traditionalists? The AJANA is there. Many of his possibly traditionalists as well, to make sure that the tourism industry, the tourism aspect of Osun, it's improved. We've talked about making money, making revenue. So that's on one part. And how about building business around these monuments? And I'll give you an example. The Okogusi in Ekiti State. The government built a business, a bottled water business. So that place will always be running in as much as being taken care of. So two questions in one. Are you working with traditionalists to make sure the tourism aspect of Osun State gets improved? And how about building a business along these tourist sites?
Well, to ask that question, AJANA, are we working with you? Are we working with you?
Okay.
We're about working together.
We've not started working.
We're about working together.
Have we started working?
In terms of business and improving tourism.
Okay.
We're about working together.
Is there synergy between the government and traditionalists?
Discussion has commenced.
Okay.
Okay.
Now that was answered. You see, I told you earlier, we need private partnership.
Yes.
Is it business run on partnership basis flourishes more than when it is as it was being done? We want to have a different narrative. See, check Ayikonoba. People come from Lagos to go and stay there. Thank goodness I was with the KBC yesterday. We still spoke about Ayikonoba. We are going to create good avenue, good situation for people to come and invest. Business could be done.
Yeah.
The caucus you are talking about was a collaboration.
Yes.
We need to collaborate. We need to work together. Partnership. See, we make roads that lead to Okene to be good. So people want to do business, will not come there. There's bad road. Like I told you about the irrigation. Process are being done for the road to be good. So people are going to be happy. See, I'm glad to tell you that the irrigation people, when they came, they laid bare their anger. And we're able to resolve a lot of things. The government will do the best. I'm using the medium again to appeal to international businessmen, local businessmen to come and partnership.
Is there a timeline to this?
It's an open-ended thing.
Because people want to say this is what you said. The next 6 months this is what you are going to do. The government in the next 1 year.
I can only tell you one thing. In the next 6-7 weeks, you see changes.
6-7 weeks.
Look, you see so many. Look, on November, October, you see tourist activities happening.
All right.
We bring in big people. I'm saying it now. We want to create a face of Osun tourism. When you have a face, there's an identity.
All right.
Our sons and daughters who have done well, we make them the face of Osun. Yesterday, we have Babele Buba with us. Babele Buba has been there for a long time. Have you not?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Baba Atanda has been there too. I'm not talking about this Dr. Atanda. The Baba Atanda was there.
All right. 6-7 weeks, that's a timeline that we will follow through, by the way. And Dr. Atanda, let me ask this. And I believe these are questions that many persons want to know, clarified. Sacrifices, human ritual, that is the in thing now. People say these things, especially from young persons, there is the fraud part, the yahoo part. Many persons will say it's traditionalists that are approached to do these things. First of all, let me ask, as opposed to if you can do this thing in 1 or 2 minutes, is there anything like money ritual?
Thank you very much.
How come it's traditionalists that are approached for these things?
Thank you very much.
Yes, please.
Let me quickly state something which just occurred to me. So we've been saying Dr. ATANDA, AJANA of Osogbo. Maybe we have also forgotten that I'm not here as just the AJANA of Osogbo.
Okay.
I'm here as the president of traditional religion worshippers in Osun State.
Okay.
So I'm speaking on behalf of all Olorisha in Osun State.
Okay, yes.
So coming to that, I've said this 2-3 times, either on Rave FM or even on Western Sun. We keep ascribing these things to traditionalists without evidence.
Western Spring, you meant?
Yes, Western Spring. Yeah, Western Spring. Even right here in Osun State, 2-3 instances. A certain ritualist was picked up in Ikire.
Yes.
A certain ritualist was picked up in Okebale, Osogbo here. Was it a traditionalist? Popular celebrated stories. One was a pastor, the one in Ikire. The one in Okebale was a renowned alpha. What did pressmen do? You buried the matter. I challenged you here on Western Spring. Expose them. When you find a traditionalist, call me back. You don't find the Fayemi, you don't find Shangoleke, you don't find Doyarinu, you find Peter, John, Mukaila.
All right.
And you keep saying it's traditionalist. There's nowhere in Ifa corpus that says kill a man and use him to make money. Did Yemi Elebubon do ritual to be where he is today?
Okay.
Did one day Abimbola do ritual? Be the Fagbeni Shalata that do ritual? Those are our own models.
Okay.
And those who do these rituals,
we have to
if
go
you
now.
follow them, it doesn't last.
We have to go. You didn't answer my first question. Is there anything like money ritual?
I'm not aware.
No, you are not saying yes or you are not saying.
Ifá does not teach me money ritual.
So there's nothing
it is
like money
alien
ritual.
to us. People talk about it, but I've not found it in Ifa corpus.
All right.
And I've asked my fathers to. They say it is alien to us.
Okay.
Wow.
So that we just round it off. Honourable Commissioner, your parting shots this morning. Tourism, culture, Osun State.
Well, I really want to just admonish our people in Osun State that we are here to promote our culture and work on our tourist centers and make tourism a symbolic, economic bedrock of Osun State. We will do our best, but we need your cooperation. Cooperation in so many ways, attitude, reception, and so many things. Thank you. We appreciate you all.
Thank you, Doctor.
I tried to do it 30 seconds. I know you're running out of time. I know you're running out of time. Well, first and foremost, I think to the government, my Honourable Commissioner has spoken well. He's on board. We've not actually had a one-on-one meeting to discuss this, but the few instances we've come together, he seems to be ready. But what I just want to say is Osun is the Mecca and the Jerusalem of Nigeria. In as much as they want to promote culture, tourism for business, we're good. It's a win-win situation. But let them put the right pegs in the right holes.
All right.
I'd like to thank you, gentlemen, most sincerely. Our Honorable Commissioner of Culture and Tourism, Honorable ABIODUN, far as we love to call him here. Thank you most sincerely for taking time out to be with us. Thank you. Pleasure. And also the AJANA and the President of Traditionalists in Osun State, Dr. OLUSEYI ATANDA. Always a pleasure having you as well. Gentlemen,
thank you very much.
To the entire transmission team, thank you to our director, to the producers, thank you to the entire camera team, thank you for making it happen. And to you, our very esteemed viewers out there, we'll be back again tomorrow on another edition of this program, Morning Spring, from Western Spring Television, the station that says it as it is. TUNDE IDOWU is my name.
All right. I want to say thank you for being part of the program. Please do join us on all our social media platforms. Follow us and share as well, and we are on YouTube. If you need a recap, of course you should, of this program, please go on YouTube and search for Western Springs Television. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless Nigeria. And to those ministers designated that will be sworn in today, will be on your matter. You have to do the needful for Nigeria.
No doubt.
FEMI is money once again. Have a very wonderful day. Bye-bye.